In a world that teaches women to be endlessly available, constantly accommodating, and always pleasant, Capricorn women stand apart. Whether you're a Capricorn Sun, Moon, Rising, or you carry this energy strongly in your chart, especially through Venus or Saturn placements, you move through life with a kind of quiet power that others can't quite name. You don't beg for space, you claim it. You don't explain your silence, you let it speak. And while some may call you distant or cold, what they're really witnessing is a woman who has mastered the art of boundaries, a woman who protects her energy like it's sacred, because to you it is. Capricorn energy isn't about being the loudest in the room. It's about being the most grounded. And that doesn't just come from your sun sign. If you have a Capricorn moon, you likely learned early on that emotional safety couldn't be outsourced, so you built it yourself. If you're Capricorn rising, you walk into life with a built in sense of responsibility, structure, and discernment. If Venus or Saturn touches Capricorn in your chart, chances are you love with integrity, but from a distance, because you've been burned before. You don't perform self love, you embody it. Not through aesthetics or trends, but through restraint, consistency, and choosing yourself even when no one else does. You know your limits, you know your worth, and you don't negotiate either of them. That in itself is revolutionary in a world obsessed with validation. Your boundaries aren't about shutting people out, they're about protecting what's within. You likely learned this through experience, through giving too much and getting little in return, through realizing that not everyone deserves access to your softness, your effort, or your peace. So you pulled back, you filtered, you stopped over explaining, and in that silence, you began to build your life on your terms. People, especially women, watch you quietly. They feel something when you walk in the room. It's not intimidation, it's clarity. You model what it looks like to stand rooted in self respect, to detach when needed, to walk away without drama, not out of spite, but out of alignment. And that teaches others something they didn't even know they needed to learn. You don't talk about boundaries, you live them. You don't demand respect, you command it simply by being. You don't rush to fix, explain, or prove. You let your absence speak. You let your life speak. And it always does. Capricorn Moon, women in particular, carry an emotional strength that's rare. Often called the old souls, they move through life with a guarded heart, not because they can't love deeply, but because they love responsibly. They're not reckless with their emotional energy. They feel everything but show very little. And it's not coldness, it's wisdom. It's the understanding that emotions are sacred and not everyone has earned the right to witness them. Capricorn Sun and rising women embody sovereignty. They don't need to announce their growth. You can feel it. They don't follow trends. They are the blueprint. Their lives are built on integrity, not performance. And it's exactly this quiet conviction that pulls others in. Not because they're flashy, but because they're unshakable. Other women begin to reflect just by being around you. They question what they've been tolerating. They start to recognize where they've been too accessible, too forgiving, too eager to be chosen. You don't tell them to change. Your boundaries invite them to rise. Your power is in your stillness, in your ability to remain calm while others spiral, in your refusal to chase, prove, or beg. You don't need chaos to feel alive. You don't need to be understood to feel valid. That kind of self containment is rare and it's magnetic. It's easy to misunderstand Capricorn placements. People might call you too serious, too distant, or emotionally unavailable. But what they don't see is the emotional labor you've carried, the battles you fought silently, the times you showed up for yourself because no one else could. You've built a life of stability, not because it was handed to you, but because you decided you would never let anyone shake your core again. Your boundaries aren't rigid, they're intelligent. They aren't punishment, they're protection. When you leave, it's not a game, it's closure. When you go quiet, it's not manipulation, it's self preservation. And when you say no, you mean it with your full chest and your full peace. Closing. Why Capricorn women are role models. I grew up with an older sister who has a Capricorn Sun, and to this day I still admire her more than almost anyone I've met. From a young age, she carried herself with a sense of responsibility that felt way beyond her years. While I was more carefree and spontaneous, she always seemed to have this inner compass guiding her, and she never strayed too far from it. Watching her move through life taught me a lot about what discipline and boundaries really look like in practice. One of the things that stood out the most about her was her strict routine when it came to school and later her career. She used to wake up before sunrise every single day, no matter what, to go on a run and clear her mind. Looking back, it was her way of staying grounded. That routine built a discipline in her that carried into everything else. She was never the type to procrastinate, and she had a quiet confidence about her that came from keeping promises to herself. I also had a close friend who was a Capricorn Moon, and she displayed those traits in a slightly different but equally powerful way. She wasn't as outwardly serious as my sister, but she was incredibly driven when it came to long term goals. She always had a plan for where she wanted to be in 5 or 10 years, and she took consistent steps to get there. Even in her social life, she had this steady, grounded energy that made people naturally trust her. While others panicked or let emotions take over, she kept his focus on the bigger picture. She didn't allow short term setbacks to knock her off course. That quiet perseverance is something I've come to associate with Capricorn energy as a whole. This ability to stay steady even when the world feels chaotic. It's not flashy, but it's powerful. Having both of them in my life really shaped how I view Capricorn women in general. They aren't just disciplined for the sake of being strict. They do it because they know their worth and they know what they're working toward. My sister especially showed me that real strength isn't loud or flashy. It's found in consistency, boundaries, and the ability to stay true to yourself even when it's not easy. And that's why I always say Capricorn women are one of the clearest examples of what discipline and self respect really look like.